Have you ever felt like life keeps telling you to keep moving, no matter how tired you are? For years, we've been told that staying active is the key to health and happiness as we age. But what if that's only half the story? What if the secret to feeling better in your 70s and beyond isn't just about moving more, but moving smarter? If you're 70 or older, it's time to rethink the way you live your golden years. Today, I'll share 3 simple yet powerful habits that can improve your well-being and bring more peace into your life. These practices aren't about stopping altogether, but about being intentional, about focusing on what truly matters and letting go of what doesn't. We've all heard the same advice over and over again. Stay active. Don't slow down. But what if slowing down in the right way could actually make you healthier and happier? Imagine waking up in the morning and feeling at ease, enjoying the moment instead of constantly chasing the next task. Stay with me because the third habit might be exactly what you need to make the most of this chapter in your life. Let me tell you a story that changed my perspective. I once met an older gentleman at a park. He was sitting on a bench smiling as if he had figured something out that the rest of us hadn't. Curious, I asked him what his secret was. He laughed and said, "I used to think happiness was about doing more, working hard, taking care of everyone, keeping busy. But now I realize happiness is about knowing what not to do." Once I started following 3 simple rules, everything felt lighter, easier, and more joyful. Today, I'm sharing those 3 rules with you. And trust me, once you start applying them, you may find more energy, more peace, and more fulfillment in everyday life. But first, let me ask, do you ever feel like life is moving too fast, draining you instead of bringing you joy? If so, this video is for you. Let's dive in. 1. Slow down mindfully. There's a quiet wisdom in slowing down, one that many of us overlook in a world that always seems to be rushing forward. But here's the truth. Slowing down isn't the same as stopping. It's about choosing to live with greater awareness, with intention. When we were younger, life was full of deadlines, responsibilities, and the constant need to do more. But now in these golden years, isn't it time to ask ourselves, what's the rush? Imagine this. You wake up in the morning, not to the blaring sound of an alarm, not to a long to-do list, but to a moment of stillness. You pour yourself a warm cup of coffee or tea, and instead of reaching for your phone or turning on the TV, you simply sit. You feel the steam rising, the warmth in your hands, the rich aroma filling the air. Outside your window, the leaves sway gently in the breeze. You take a sip, letting the taste linger, and for the first time in a long while, you realize you are fully present in this moment. This isn't just resting, it's practicing mindfulness, a deep and powerful way to reconnect with yourself. Buddhist teachings remind us that when we slow down, we don't lose time, we gain presence. When we walk, we walk. When we eat, we eat. When we speak, we truly listen. And in doing so, we rediscover the richness in everyday life. I once met an elderly man who had spent most of his life working tirelessly. He told me, "For years, I measured my days by how much I accomplished, but now I measure them by how deeply I experience each moment." He had learned the secret. Peace isn't found in doing more, but in being fully present for what we do. So ask yourself, what pace are you living at? Do you rush through your days out of habit, even when there's no reason to? It's time to let go of that old urgency. You are in a season of wisdom, not competition. You have nothing to prove, only life to enjoy. So today, I invite you to take one small step. Slow down. Feel the weight of each breath, the beauty of each moment, the gift of simply being. Life isn't meant to be a race, it's meant to be felt. 2. Find joy in simplicity. So many of us spend our lives chasing happiness, believing it comes from big achievements, major milestones, or once-in-a-lifetime moments. But as we grow older, we begin to understand something different. True happiness isn't about big things at all. It's in the small, everyday moments we often overlook. Think about it. What truly brings a smile to your face? Is it the memory of a perfect vacation, or is it something much simpler? Maybe it's the way your morning coffee warms your hands, the soft breeze through an open window, the way a familiar song can take you back to a time when life felt lighter. I once knew a man named Edward who spent most of his life working hard, always believing happiness would come later, when he retired, when he had more money, when life finally slowed down. But one day he realized he had spent so much time waiting for happiness that he had missed it entirely. Now, he told me, I wake up and notice the little things, the way my wife hums while she cooks, the comfort of my old rocking chair, the joy of hearing my grandson laugh. And you know what? That's enough. And he was right. Our minds are trained to focus on problems, on what's missing, what went wrong, what could be better. But what if we trained ourselves to focus on the good instead? Try this simple habit. Every day, find 3 things that bring you joy. They don't have to be life-changing. Maybe it's the feeling of clean sheets when you slip into bed. Maybe it's a friendly conversation with a neighbor. Maybe it's the way the afternoon sun falls across your living room floor. Whatever it is, take a moment to really notice it. If you like, write it down. Not because these moments are extraordinary, but because they matter. This isn't just a nice exercise. It can change the way you see life. When you start paying attention to small joys, they add up. You feel lighter, more at peace, more connected to the present moment instead of worrying about the past or the future. So ask yourself, what small joys have I been overlooking? You don't need to chase happiness. It's already here, waiting to be noticed. And when you start seeing it, you'll realize it was never about having more, doing more, or being more. It was always about appreciating what was already there. 3. Embrace gratitude daily. Gratitude is one of those things we often take for granted, yet it has the power to transform the way we experience life. When we were younger, it was easy to overlook the small things. We were too busy, too focused on the future, always chasing the next milestone. But now in this stage of life, we have a rare opportunity to pause, to reflect, and to truly see the value of what we already have. The question is, are we paying attention? I once met a woman named Evelyn, a retired school teacher in her mid-70s. She told me how for years she lived with a deep sense of longing. She longed for the past, for the days when her children were still young, when her body felt stronger, when life felt fuller. She also worried constantly about the future, her health, her finances, whether she would become a burden to her family. But one day she made a simple change. Instead of focusing on what she had lost or what might come, she started focusing on what was already here. Every morning as she sipped her tea, she would think of 3 things she was grateful for. Some days it was something small, the sound of birds outside her window, the warmth of the sun on her skin, the comfort of an old chair. Other days it was something bigger, a call from her daughter, a moment of laughter with an old friend, the realization that, despite everything, she was still here, still breathing, still living. At first it felt strange. It almost seemed too simple, like it couldn't possibly make a difference. But after a few weeks, something shifted. She began noticing joy in places she had overlooked before. The same cup of tea she had every morning now felt like a little luxury. A simple walk in the park became a moment of peace rather than just another way to pass the time. Even on difficult days, she found that there was always something. A kindness from a stranger, a beautiful sunset, the simple fact that she had made it through another day. Gratitude, she told me, didn't erase her problems. It didn't bring back the past or guarantee a worry-free future. But it changed how she felt. It softened the edges of life. It made the present moment feel enough. And that is the true magic of gratitude. It pulls us back into now. So often our minds drift between what was and what could be. We replay old regrets, relive painful memories, or worry about things that may never happen. But when we take a moment to be grateful, we step away from that endless cycle. We remind ourselves that, in this very moment, there is something good, something worth appreciating. And when we train our minds to focus on these small joys, they start to add up. If you want to bring more gratitude into your life, start small. Take a moment each day to reflect, perhaps in the morning with a cup of coffee, or at night before you sleep. Think of 3 things, no matter how simple, that brought you even the slightest sense of joy. You don't have to write them down, though many people find that helpful. Just notice them, acknowledge them. Let yourself feel them, And if you can, express your gratitude out loud. Tell the people in your life when you appreciate them. Thank a friend for their kindness. Let your family know how much their presence means to you. Gratitude grows even stronger when it is shared. Some days will be harder than others. There will be days when it feels impossible to find something to be grateful for. But even then, there is always something. Your breath, your resilience, the simple fact that you are still here. Gratitude doesn't mean ignoring hardships or pretending that everything is perfect. It simply means shifting your focus, choosing to see the light even when shadows are present. The beauty of gratitude is that it has a way of reshaping how we see the world. Have you ever noticed how some people, no matter their circumstances, seem to radiate a sense of peace? They aren't the ones with the easiest lives, the most money, or the best health. They're the ones who have learned to see what they have instead of what they lack. Gratitude does that. It shifts your attention from scarcity to abundance. And when you cultivate that perspective, life itself starts to feel different. I remember speaking to an elderly gentleman named Robert who had been through more hardships than most. He lost his wife, battled an illness, and found himself living alone for the first time in decades. Yet when I met him, he was one of the most joyful people I had ever encountered. I asked him how he maintained such a positive outlook, and he smiled. "I have two choices," he said. "I can focus on what's missing, or I can focus on what I still have. And when I wake up in the morning, I choose to be grateful that I woke up at all." His words stuck with me. It's a choice, isn't it? Every single day we have the opportunity to direct our focus. Do we dwell on what's wrong, or do we notice what's right? Do we live in frustration over what we've lost, or do we cherish what remains? It's not always easy, but it is always possible. Another simple way to cultivate gratitude is by changing how you end your day. Instead of lying in bed replaying worries, regrets, or what didn't go right, try shifting your last thoughts to gratitude. Think about 3 things from the day that made you feel even a tiny bit lighter. Maybe it was a conversation, a good meal, a moment of laughter, or even just the fact that you made it through. Whisper a quiet thank you to yourself, to life, to whatever force you believe in. Let gratitude be the last thought of your day, and see if you wake up tomorrow feeling just a little lighter. This practice doesn't just improve your mood, it can change the way you live. Scientists have found that people who actively practice gratitude sleep better, feel less stressed, and even experience better physical health. But beyond the science, gratitude simply makes life feel better. It reminds us that even in the hardest moments, there is something worth appreciating. If you've never tried making gratitude a habit, now is the perfect time. It costs nothing, takes only a few moments, and yet it can completely shift your perspective on life. So ask yourself, what is one thing you are grateful for right now? It doesn't have to be grand. Maybe it's the comfort of your home, the sound of rain outside, or the feeling of a deep breath filling your lungs. Notice it, appreciate it, and let it remind you that even in the simplest things, there is something beautiful. Because no matter your age, no matter your circumstances, there is always something to be grateful for. And in that gratitude, you just might find the key to a more peaceful, joyful, and fulfilling life. Start living better today. Before we part ways, let's take a small step together. Close your eyes for a moment and take a deep breath. Ask yourself, what do I truly need right now? Maybe it's a moment of rest, a deep stretch, or just the simple awareness that you are here, breathing, and safe. Take 3 slow breaths, letting each one fill you with calmness. Now think of something good that happened today. It doesn't have to be big. Perhaps it was the warmth of the sun on your face, the taste of your favorite meal, or a kind word from a friend. Hold on to that feeling. This is the power of gratitude and mindfulness in action. We often search for answers in books, expert advice, or the endless scroll of the internet. But the truth is, so much of what we need is already within us. Your body knows when to rest, your heart knows what brings you joy, and your soul knows the value of slowing down. All we have to do is listen. If this message resonated with you, share it with someone who might need to hear it today. Try these 3 simple habits for a week and see how they shift your mood and well-being. And before you go, comment, "I'm ready," to remind yourself that this moment, This stage of life is yours to embrace. Remember, every single day is a gift. Take it slowly, live it fully, and I'll see you in the next video.